Now, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that you're looking at running for president again.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump.
I think that man will be president of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red cake.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Donald Trump will not become president.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Donald Trump will never, ever be president.
Moderator, but apparently believes that Donald Trump is a clown.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to the
Let's see, I'm at 42 and you're at 20.
We have a key race alert right now. Donald Trump now has reached the number of delegates needed to clinch the Republican presidential nomination.
So, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy.
Donald Trump, while we project, will win in Kentucky with its 8th electoral vote, in Indiana with its 11th electoral vote, West Virginia, Oklahoma, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes, North Dakota with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, Missouri, Ohio, Idaho, North Carolina.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Together, we will make America great again.
Now,
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime, Mage IDOT of the 199, and I'm happy to see all of you here tonight, 100 days in, and President Trump is breaking the brains of the leftist weirdos. I mean, it's getting really wild. I've missed all of you. Sorry that I haven't, you guys know the song and dance. I got a lot going on. But happy to be back, happy to get caught up on all things in the world of the craziness that is politics and just everything in general. You can't get away from it. Everything is fucking nuts right now. These people are broken beyond belief. It really is wild. Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. And Trump is doing a rally tomorrow to celebrate his 100 days in office. And that's going to run right over Tuesday night's main event. So could it bring us back to the last year when I had to stream over Tuesday night's main event? I don't know yet. I haven't decided. So we'll see. But I would like to, because it's going to be a Trump rally. We used to do Trump rallies like every day on this channel. And of course, they don't happen that much anymore. So maybe we should. I don't know. We'll see what the chat has to say about it. And we'll go from there. But yeah, I missed the rallies too, Longclaw. I 100% agree. We've got the Canadian election going on right now. The Liberals are expected to win. I know there's been some early polling that has shown that the Conservatives have shown up a little bit more than they expected. I'm not going to pretend to understand all the details of the Canadian elections. I know that Pierre guy has completely ruined, like, the guy was dominating. He was way ahead, and then he started talking shit to Trump, and he lost all of his support. So I have no idea. I don't know what's going on in Canada. I'm not sure. It seems like Canada, no matter who wins, it seems like Canada is completely gone anyway. But I'm no expert in that. So I guess we shall see. But we do have some stuff to talk about. Let's see here. Let's see who all we got here. Brandon says, when is the KikaCast starting to cover the Canadian election tonight? Hail the 199. Chris is actually over on Locals right now. I don't know if that started yet, but we have a local stream over there. So she's going to be over there. And I think they're covering wrestling tonight. I won't be able to make it because I got CobraCast. AOE2 Freak says, so stoked to have CobraCast back. Let's go. It feels good to be back. And I missed all of you. I did. JMNZZ450 says, Democrats 2015 to 2024, arrest all fascists. No one is above the law. Democrats 2025. Wait, what? Not us. Yeah, so the judge getting arrested. You know, it's we even had Mark Hamill crawl out of his blue sky hole. Thank you, JMNZZ450. We even had Mark Hamill show back up to Twitter to start crying about Trump. I swear, man, these people are completely broken, dude. It is absolutely insane. And it's not going to get any worse. Munchie Ninja. I'm always going to be careful about saying that name. No reason. And like I said, I might have slipped up and said a word that I've never said during gameplay or driving or rap song. I've never said that word. It's the first time. It's the first time. All right. Never said that during not driving down the road. I would never say that. But for 20, says Jeremy, the angry cops Buffalo School District is some wild stuff. You should check it out. I'll have to look into that. Like, is it on YouTube or what? Or the stream or nothing like that. Exactly, Astral Chain. I would never say it. Thank you, Munchie Ninja. Have to say it so slow now. Oh, we got Ruben here with a member message. Ruben Christopher Haynes says, hail iDots, hail the snake pit, 100 days of winning. Let's effing go. Keep my nephew, Gabriel Haynes, 8 years old, needs a bone marrow transplant. F cancer. Love you all. Hail Geeks and Gamers. F you, Jeremy. Great things are coming. Keep the faith. Prayers up for your 8-year-old nephew, Gabriel, for Ruben, man. Sorry to hear that, brother, but I got faith everything's going to pull through, man. Keep us posted, all right? Keep us posted. Scotty Doo says, folks at Geeks and Gamers should watch the movie Meet the Feebles. They're not your average, ordinary people. Brock says, remember to stay hydrated and drink water. Hail to Brock. There you go, Brock. Thank you, brother. Drew Barr with a member message. Thank you. Jeremy Pride for $1. Stephen DeLeon says Quinn Ewers will be starting quarterback for the Dolphins. Not going to happen. Net Steeler says paying the fine for being nice to Beardo last week. That's true. Solo Felix says Canada are lost. Apple eating guys stuffed up. Yeah, that's pretty much all we know. Pierre Poilievre or whatever his name is. Eric K says Trump rally sounds great, especially with a guest host. It's always a better stream. Guess we'll see what happens. Jake the Movie Geek says, Sunday I saw Revenge of the Sith in theaters. Such an awesome movie, especially on the big screen. Hell yeah, man. I'm so happy Revenge of the Sith's getting more love. It deserves it. My favorite Star Wars movie. The Raven and Writing Desk from member messages. Thank you. Earthbound Ian says, super fortunate to have found your channel and community after this election. I can safely say the MAGA crowd, the 199 crew are the real ones. Hail the 199. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad. I mean, look, we've got a unique corner of the internet around here, man. And, thank you for the 2 Dick Butter. Thank you. But we have a very, very unique audience, and it's crazy, man. No matter what we do, whether it's the panel streams, whether it's Hollywood, video games, politics, we do a gaming stream, we do a theme park stream. We always have people showing up, man. So I am very, very thankful and humbled by all the support that we get, and it's really amazing. So thank you guys so much. By the way, I just noticed this. Look how close I am to 100,000 followers on Twitter. So I highlighted over it. So look how many I am. 2 followers away from 100,000. I have been stuck at like 998, 999 for like, it feels like 2 months now. So I don't know. We'll see if we're able to hit it during the stream. But I've been going like, I'll drop like 30 or 40 followers out of nowhere. It's super weird. I can't believe I have 100,000 followers on Twitter. That is the craziest shit ever. So let's refresh and see what happens. Did I lose or did I gain any? Refresh. I've gained 1. I gained 1. So now we're 1. Next follower will be the 100,000th follower on Twitter. So I guess we may do it live tonight. We'll see. We'll see. Jim P says, your mom doing good. 199. Lock the northern border like the southern. Yeah, I mean, all things considered, you know, it's going to probably be 2 to 3 months before I actually have any clarity on it. But yes, all things considered, she's doing well. My dad's doing well. But there's a lot of nuance that goes along with that. But yeah, as of now, all things are good. It could flip in a moment. And that's the sucky part of all of this, but everybody's going through some shit. I don't want to pretend like my problems are any better or worse than anybody else's. Everybody has problems. And so it's not easy, but you know, I appreciate the well wishes. Nick Hammerschmidt says, you and Ryan having Revenge of the Sith as your favorite Star Wars movie must be the only thing you agree on. Oh, that's pretty funny. Well, I hit 100K. What? Let's see. Holy shit. Look at there. Like 100,000 followers. That is crazy. Laughing Man said I unfollowed Jeremy. Thank you guys so much. That is insane. 100,000 followers. But yes, well, listen, I think that all bullshit aside, like Ryan is the most knowledgeable Star Wars fan that I know of. If I had to, you know, if I was say like a person like, hey, we need to pick a person, you need to pick someone to represent Star Wars knowledge, I would pick Ryan against anybody I know and anybody I've ever met. I'm not saying he knows every single little detail, but I'm saying in the big scheme of things, because there are probably people that are bigger experts in certain fields within Star Wars than Ryan. But if you're just talking about an overall knowledge of Star Wars without him having to look it up, Ryan knows more than anybody that I've ever met. Like I said, it really is incredible. He knows his shit, man. Harley Dave for 20 says big clap for the clap. Thank you, Harley Dave. Let's see. For the Emperor says, my mom has surgery in the morning, so please pray for her. Prayers up for the Emperor. Prayers up, man. I hear you on that. Prayers up in the chat. People say Theory shaded. Dude, I've not, that's no disrespect to Theory. Theory knows really well, knows the movies and all of that. No doubt. He's admitted this. He doesn't know the EU as well as other people. He's admitted that. It's no disrespect to Theory. What I'm saying is there might be people that have more knowledge in one specific area of Star Wars than Ryan does. But if you're talking about overall Star Wars knowledge, I don't think anybody is close to Ryan. At least anybody I know. And not only that, he's well-spoken and he doesn't need to look anything up. He could just talk about it off the top of his fucking head. It's absolutely insane. And that's not even just Star Wars. That's Ryan in almost anything. His amount of knowledge on everything is retarded. Fuck Ryan. I'm not complimenting him anymore. He can go straight to hell. He's a piece of shit. He's a terrible person. There. Feel better now? Yeah, Booming Bob says Theory even admits Ryan knows more than him. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Act Natural says, I'm looking forward to finding out who's going to be elected to oversee the surrender of Canada. 51st state, baby. 51st state. Pat Patriot says Ryan is the most knowledgeable Star Wars fan ever, but Jeremy is the gayest ever. Thank you, Pat Patriot. Nick Hammerschmidt says 100%. I believe you on Ryan being the most knowledgeable after he answered the correct amount of womp rats in a setting. Dude, it's crazy. It really is impressive. Munchie Ninja says the Angry Cops has a video about it. It's about half an hour long, pretty disturbing, and involves kids. Yikes. I'll check that out. Steel Leg of History says, I have my next fake leg appointment this week, and I'm still having trouble with my ankle, so I'll have to go to the ER quick care to get it checked out. Best wishes to you, brother. Appreciate you, Steel Leg of History. Okay, so we have some things to talk about, and there's a lot to talk about, actually, and I don't even know where to start. I honestly don't know where to start. But one thing I want to start with is, as much as it's a time to celebrate and all of that, there's also, I have criticisms of the Trump administration. I do. And my criticism is something I've mentioned before. And my criticism is the Epstein files. It's one thing if you want to sit there and say, well, that wasn't part of Trump's agenda, all of that. I agree. That was never anything that he made campaign promises about. But the campaign decided to make a mockery of the Epstein file situation with those binders. It was ridiculous what we saw. And here we are all this time later, and we still have nothing. We still don't have any answers on this. And I don't like it. And I think that more Trump supporters need to be vocal about this because it's a problem. I'm trying to find this right now because, DC Drano, I guess they had like a new media thing or some bullshit today. I don't really care about that. Looks like some of my bookmarks are disappearing. Let me pull this up. DC Drano was there and they had some other people. I guess they have this new media bullshit. And, I guess DC Drano asked about the Epstein files, and let me see if I can find it. But yeah, it's like, why is this so difficult right now for us to get some answers on this? It seems like there's something else going on, and I can't ignore that. I just can't. Here it is right here. So DC Drano respectfully pressures the White House on where the remaining Epstein files are and if she has any timeline on their release. And when we might start seeing some arrests. So here's what DC Drano said. Now, first of all, I know they had this whole new media thing or whatever. I think the new media thing, I say this with as much respect as I can. It's a kiss my ass club. It's basically a Vince McMahon kiss my ass club. All the people that are in this new media thing are the kiss my ass club for the Trump administration, MAGA. They just are. Like none of these people, that's what they are. It's a kiss my ass club. So let's listen to this really quick.
My question is about the Epstein files. And a couple months ago, the DOJ released what they called phase 1 of the Epstein files. And they announced that a lot of those files, the remaining files, probably the bulk of the files, are actually in the New York field office. They requested that they be returned the day after. And some legacy media reports show that not only were those files returned to the DOJ, but that hundreds of FBI agents are going through them day after day and getting them ready for public release. Do you have any updates from the DOJ or the FBI on when those files are expected to be released, and also when we might start seeing some arrests of the client list?
Sure. I can assure you that the Attorney General and her team at the Department of Justice are working on this diligently. For a specific timeline, I'd have to check in with them, and we can certainly do that for you, Rogan, in the effort of transparency. But I will tell you, the Attorney General is a bulldog. She is someone you want on your team.
Bullshit. She has produced nothing. She sat there on national TV and said the Epstein files are on my desk. That was what, a month and a half ago?
And when she wants to get something done, she gets it done. I've seen her do it in various instances already in her time as Attorney General. And when she makes a promise, she keeps it. So I think I don't have a specific timeline on you for that, but I do know that they're working on it over there.
Yeah, and Anna Paulina Luna tweeted out 2 Epstein victims are now dead. Every day, the DOJ delays releasing the Epstein client list. Public trust erodes and more lives are put at risk. I'm calling on the DOJ and Pam Bondi to act immediately, release the files. The American people deserve the truth. And I agree. I agree with everything she said right there. We even had, Epstein right here. This Epstein accuser died by suicide. If you believe that, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that for a second. And things like this shouldn't be happening right now with Trump in office. They shouldn't. Yet they're still happening. And I think that's bullshit. We shouldn't be dealing with a person that reportedly died by suicide, a person that was abused by Jeffrey Epstein. Why are we still dealing with this? Why did those binders get thrown out there to all of those clowns for them to hold up libs of TikTok and all of that? One of the problems I have, again, I want to be clear here. I am very, very happy with 90% of the Trump administration's job that they've done. Phenomenal work. Illegal immigration is in check. Trump has been doing amazing with what he's doing overseas and the tariffs and trying to end the wars. He's bringing trust back to the White House in a lot of ways. There's been a ton of good things that are happening right now. They've even floated out the idea of abolishing the IRS in time. There's a lot of work to be done, but his first 100 days have been absolutely awesome. But this Epstein thing is a problem. I can't just ignore it. I can't just look past it and go, it's not a big deal. It's a big fucking deal. And it needs to be treated as a big deal. So that has to be established right there. That's a big, big problem. I also, while we're on the topic of me having problems with the Trump administration, Trump's tweet about Shador Sanders was absolutely retarded. So if you're not aware of this, it's been a big media narrative because of racism, because apparently it's racist to pick a black quarterback over a black quarterback. So Shador Sanders, who's the quarterback for Colorado, and Deion Sanders' son, who was projected to be a first-round draft choice, fell in the draft after day one, was not drafted. Many people claimed it was for racism. Trump sent out a tweet and basically said all the NFL owners are stupid for not picking Shador Sanders, blah, 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 blah. And then you saw a bunch of MAGA people pick up on it and start to pretend that they care about football, which was nonsense. Shador Sanders fell in the draft for two reasons. He was never as talented as the perception of him was. And Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders has been on camera multiple times saying that he's going to make sure that there's a few teams that he won't allow his son to go to. Look, Deion Sanders is one of the greatest football players of all time. I grew up watching Deion Sanders. I thought Deion was unbelievable on the football field and on the baseball field, but as a football player, he's one of the best I've ever seen. And his attitude and his arrogance was, he could back it up with his talent. When you can back it up, you can talk shit. Your son ain't you. And for him to talk all that shit, and now the media has flipped this narrative to where Shador Sanders, even though several black players, including black quarterbacks, were picked before him, the media has flipped this narrative to it was racism. I'm like, oh my God, it's insane. But Trump had to get involved in that, and I don't know why, but I had to call that out. That tweet from Trump was just absolutely retarded. Shador Sanders got drafted exactly where he deserved to get drafted. It's that simple. He's arrogant. He's self-centered. He thinks he's better than he is, and he's not worth the trouble. And then you bring his dad into the equation and you have to deal with two divas. So it's ridiculous. So we got Logan Miller with 10 gifted memberships. Let's freaking go. Cam Ward was literally the number one pick. I know. Thank you, Logan Miller. Jalen Milroe, who's out of Alabama. I don't think he's that great, but he got drafted before, Shador Sanders. He's a black quarterback. When he got drafted, they said it was racist. They said it was racist that Jalen Milroe, a black quarterback, got drafted before Shedeur Sanders. These are the same people that tell you men can get pregnant. These are the same people that have no grip on reality. It's crazy, dude. Unbelievable. Logan Miller says, new media briefing is cringe AF. Hail chat. Jeremy, you are gay. Yes, it is cringe. Listen, man. I love that the media, the mainstream legacy media, has been destroyed. And I know that you have to have an alternative there, but to me, it just feels like who should be in that media briefing room? Tim Pool or Laura Loomer? You know the answer, and it ain't Tim Pool. Laura Loomer is a far better investigative journalist than Tim Pool. She's also been loyal to President Trump. Tim Pool has not been loyal. Tim Pool literally said Trump was too old to run for president for in 2024. That's what he said. Tim Pool said Trump is too old to run for president 2024. He's too old. He needs to go away. He needs to go away. I just don't understand it, but it is a kiss my ass club. That is what the new media is. It's a kiss my ass club. It's a bunch of MAGA shills that will do anything and everything that's asked of them, and they want to be in the cool kids club. They want to be at Mar-a-Lago. They want to be able to take pictures. They want it for social media clout. They don't want it for the right reasons. They want it for clout. It is what it is. Are they better than the legacy media? Yeah. Are they trustworthy? No. So that's really it. Buster Nut Smash says they will not release any info if they are in the middle of investigating people. Information would drop once arrests are made. Well, I hear you on that, but then they should have never done the binder situation. The binder situation showed that they don't take this thing as seriously as they should be. That's my big problem with it. Panic and Skyfaller says, we need to face the harsh reality that we will never see the Epstein files. The only reason they still exist is if Democrats pass them around for blackmail. There was too much time to delete. And if we could just get that answer, then I would at least feel a little better about that. But when Pam Bondi sat there on national TV and says the Epstein files are on my desk and you're going to see some Epstein information released tomorrow, and then you show all of these people that are part of the new media walking out with those binders, libs of fucking TikTok, is now considered a fucking journalist because she grabs TikTok videos of leftists and puts them on Twitter and gets a ton of traction. She's never done any work to actually get that. Like, I appreciate what libs of TikTok does, but all she does is take liberals off TikTok and upload them, and she goes viral for it. What the fuck? It's unbelievable. Let's see. Pilar of Astoras for 10 says the conservative numbers dropped in the polls not because of Trump, but because the liberal base was reinvigorated after having Carney in the new party leader. Polls are very close now, though. I am hearing that. I'll have to look and see. I hope there's a better turnout than what they were anticipating, especially like on Poly Market and stuff like that. So, Panic and Skyfaller says Blue Ball Bondi. Vault 95 says, I had a good weekend passing Beardo and X followers. Did you? Nice. Zioni says, leftists are saying Trump is covering his track. I don't believe that. I don't, but I do believe, what I truly believe is there's probably some powerful people that Trump probably knows that are caught up in it. Maybe. That's my only theory on it. I don't think Trump's involved in it at all directly. I don't believe that at all. But I believe that there's some people that Trump maybe knows that might be caught up in it. So, let me see here. Lex Luthor says, Jeremy was on FNT with Nick Freitas. Is that how you say his name? He knows better than most the truth about the binder situation. The binder situation is nothing compared to what he's making out to be. Guess what? We still don't have any fucking answers. So until we have answers, yes, the binder situation is a fucking joke. How they played it, how they portrayed it, and the fact that we're still asking, and the fact that an Epstein victim just committed suicide according to the media, which none of us believe. So yes, that binder situation is a stain on the administration. I don't give a fuck what actually happened. The optics of it are fucking terrible, and people are asking questions, and we want answers. We want answers. Simple as that. So, the reason I'm still talking about it is because someone just, quote unquote, self-deleted that was tied up in it, and we still don't have answers. Yet we got that binder situation, which was disastrous. And I'm sick and tired of people trying to cover for that. Like, it's not a good situation, no matter how much you love Trump. Look at here. Oh, man. ALX just tweeted this out. So this is about the Canadian election. Apparently, the Canadian website has gone down as polls close. What? Here we go.
Yeah, one developing story, Omar, that we're keeping a close eye on. The Elections Canada website appearing to be down for some Canadians, for many right now going on the website. This is what they're seeing. We actually experienced it here in our breaking news center as well.
Holy shit. Are you kidding me?
Though we were able to get on another computer, though some people taking to social media tonight, sending out tweets like this on X. Patrick saying elections.ca isn't working for me. Does anyone else have this issue? An obvious concern, Rachel.
Yes. Damn. That is wild. Let me see. Is there any live coverage on YouTube maybe on this? It's kind of like going after a Nintendo Switch 2, man. The websites just keep crashing. So Canada elections. Let's see if we can get Canadian election. Well, let's see. Is there any live coverage? What is this?
Demand letter to Mark Carney or to the next prime minister, whoever that happens to be, and actually threatened a national unity crisis if she doesn't get her way on those policies. It will be interesting to see if Mark Carney wins as expected, and what Premier Danielle Smith has to say about that come tomorrow. She's planning to have a press
about
that. We are in South Edmonton, of course, where Edmonton's Mayor Amarjeet Sohi is looking to retake a seat in Ottawa. Former
404 democracy not found. That's really good. Harley Dave says Democrats love to cheat everywhere. It's what they do best right there. A boot. Listen, all I know is the greatest Canadian to ever live is Bret the Hitman Hart. Bret the Hitman Hart, his face should be all over the currency of Canada. He should run Canada. Bret the Hitman Hart should run. He's the only, when I think of Canada, I think of Bret the Hitman Hart. I've said this 100,000 times, but Bret the Hitman Hart, let's see, Bret Hart, Canada. This picture of Bret Hart is the most Canadian picture of all time. Somebody says Wayne Gretzky. Yeah, I can see that too. But look, man, seriously. Have you ever seen a more Canadian picture than this? There's never been that is Canada right there. That should be on the Canadian currency. The most Canada picture ever made right there. Come on now. You don't know who he is? You don't know who Bret the Hitman Hart is? Bret the Hitman Hart is a legitimate superhero. The excellence of execution. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Bret the Hitman Hart. The Hart Foundation. That's right. So I'll keep an eye on it. I mean, we'll see. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of bullshit that happens throughout the night. But we do need to talk about President Trump because the first 100 days are here. And Trump says he's having a lot of fun. So let's hear what he has to say.
It sounds like he's feeling very good in this new interview. Take a listen here.
One of the things that a couple of your advisors have told us is that you're having a lot of fun this time.
That,
I am.
That there's
I'm
just
having a lot of fun considering what I do. You know, what I do is such serious stuff.
Serious stuff indeed. The president marking his 100-day milestone with a huge focus on immigration, with stunning raids in 2 separate states, one at a migrant nightclub, resulting in the arrest of hundreds of illegal immigrants. And the White House, well, they were up early today lining.
This is, how can you not love this administration? They're literally putting illegal immigrants' pictures on the lawn with the crimes that they have committed. It's the greatest thing ever. How can you not love this man and love this administration? Again, I can have criticisms, and I do, but holy shit.
The lawn with posters displaying alleged illegal immigrants' mugshots and crimes they committed. They also held a rare early morning briefing with the border czar, Tom Homan.
This is unprecedented success. The border secure. President Trump saving lives. President Trump has proven no one does this better than President Trump. There is no equal, it's not even close. This is a border emergency until we end it, end all of it. You can argue against us all you want and protest all you want, but when you cross that line, I've said this 1,000 times, when you cross that line to impediment or knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien device, you will be prosecuted, judge or not.
And so much for nobody is above the law. The media sure seems to have forgotten its favorite slogan from the days of Trump's legal problems after the arrest of a Milwaukee judge accused of helping an illegal immigrant in her courtroom escape ICE agents.
This is all a clown show.
Wants to be king. A king doesn't have a constitution. A king just does whatever he wants. This is a constitutional crisis.
It strikes me as maybe something illegal, but it also strikes me as something heroic. People are sometimes called to do civil disobedience.
Arresting a judge today. Are you kidding me? That is a sign of weakness, not strength.
What? I thought no one was above the law. I thought no one was above the law.
I thought the whispering was over. That was Biden, and Rachel Maddow got in on that. 100 days is a time for a little reflection, in the White House saying here.
I will say, I would argue that, again, of course, it's easy for me to say this within my lifetime, but that's like, I try to only judge things that I've been around for. This is why when I talk about like all-time great football players or baseball players or basketball players, I only talk about the people I've seen. I don't know what it was like in the 50s or the 60s. I don't know. So I judge people that I've seen. So in my lifetime, there's clearly never been a president this impactful. Not even close. I mean, these 100 days from Trump has been absolutely insane. And I don't think we fully appreciate it enough. This is legendary stuff, what we're dealing with here. I know I started out with the negatives because I think it's important. I do enough praise of Trump, and I think it's important to start out with the negatives because I do have some negatives, but holy shit, man, the big scheme of things is it is crazy awesome. And you know what else is crazy awesome? Legalize adulthood for a proper 199. Dave Rubin called. He said he wants Sydney Sweeney. Oh, my God. I had to explain to him that Sydney is a chick. Fuck you, legalize adulthood, for even saying that. Oh, my God. And her last name is Sweeney. His response, oh, never mind. So happy to see this judge being perp walked. F around, find out. LFG. Damn you for that. Damn you for that. But, of course, we do get Sydney Sweeney. Lady Aaron D says, I love legalized adulthood super chats. Don't we all? Don't we all? Oh, man, I wasn't prepared for that.
Should I do it?
Do not come.
I'm going to do it.
Do not come.
I'm going to come.
Oh.
Should I do it?
Thank you, Legalize Adulthood. And, of course, 20 gifted memberships from Legalize Adulthood as well. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you, you mad lad. Absolutely insane. Holy crap.
Are the wins that we have so far.
there's so much to talk about here, and I'll be as quick as possible. Look, 100 days have been a remarkable success, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but I think the most important thing is immigration and what's happening, and the American people agree. 55% are agreeing that what the president is doing on immigration is incredible, and the transparency of this administration and the actual, Trump's.
And that's true. I mean, the transparency is pretty amazing, too. The reason MAGA is so successful is because, like, don't get me wrong, man, there are people that are 100% just clueless MAGA people that will do whatever Trump says and repeat whatever Trump says and all of that. And that's going to be in any fandom, any kind of base of people. Those people are always going to exist, okay? That's just the name of the game. But I think the majority of MAGA people have no problem criticizing Trump when they feel the need to criticize him. We've heard Trump get booed at his rallies before when he brought certain things up. We've seen Trump actively move away from the jab bullshit because he realized, like, this is not good. Every time I bring up the jab and Operation Warp Speed, they boo the shit out of me. One thing Trump doesn't like is getting booed. He does not like it. Yes, 100%. Cat Turd is somebody that has no critical thinking whatsoever. None. I followed Cat Turd for a while, and I was like, dude, you're just it's ridiculous, man. Overall, I think Cat Turd brings a lot more positive than negative. So I will say I think there's a lot more positive than negative, and I find him to be far less offensive to somebody like Dave Rubin, or Tim Pool, or some of these people that clearly were never MAGA, but pretend to be MAGA for the clout. I feel like whoever the Cat Turd guy is, I don't know his name, but he's obviously, I think he's a true Trump supporter. He's not a fake one. Yeah. So look, man, the thing that makes it so great is that Trump supporters will hold Trump accountable. They will call Trump out, and Trump listens. Trump listens to the feedback because he doesn't like negativity. He likes for his supporters to be appreciative of what he's doing, and he reads the room very well, and he will adjust when he needs to.
Speed with which they're working is unbelievable. It's like we have 2 press conferences every day. It's like you feel you're actually working in the Oval Office. But let's talk about those 100 people who were arrested. During the Biden administration, 170 911 calls, emergency calls, and nothing was done about this club where these TDA gangbangers and everyone else are doing drugs, selling guns, doing all kinds of illegal stuff, prostitution, you name it. It's an organized criminal enterprise. So kudos to Pam Bondi for getting involved in there. And now what the president does and his administration is takes a picture of every one of them, puts them outside the White House with their photo and what crime they're charged with. Excellent. Because punishment is not enough in these cases. They have to be socially ostracized.
Yes.
And that's what we did in the public square when we were a young country. Everyone knew what was going on and who was charged with what. So as far as I'm concerned, those individuals who want to blur their faces on the left, they say we should blur them.
It's everything's, there's a lot of nuance involved with a lot of different things, but like, when you're leading a group of people per se, okay? My rule as a leader, here's my rule, okay? My rule has always been, I always handle things privately with people. I never want to throw shade to anybody. I never want to disrespect anybody publicly or anything like that. Unless you disrespect me publicly. I will never, like, people that work with me or work for me or anything like that. Like, I handle things behind the scenes. I never want to throw shade or anything like that. And I think for the most part, I've had a really good track record with that. Most of the people that have ever been with G&G, if they've left with me doing it privately, by not throwing any shade and not making a big deal of it, all of that. There are times where if you have to make an example of somebody to set the tone, it's kind of like, I remember the stories about Tom Brady as a football player and how Bill Belichick, who we can talk about Bill Belichick, I think he's overrated as fuck as a coach. But when you had Tom Brady, it allowed you to do so much more. But he would dress down Tom Brady in front of the team. Like, he would call Tom Brady out. Even though Tom Brady is the greatest of all time and he was the most important player, he had an agreement with Tom, like, hey, I've got to call you out. I've got to check you in front of the team so that the whole team understands that you're not above criticism, just like none of them are above it. Everybody gets checked. That's how it has to be. Trump is operating on a whole different level right now. And this behavior to publicly expose criminals is the best method I've ever seen in this situation, hands down. We're going to publicly mock you and shame you. We're going to publicly embarrass you for the crimes that you have committed as illegal immigrants in our country. Not only is he using them, but he's also sending a signal to everyone else. This is your fate right here if you fuck with us. It's absolutely awesome. It really is.
Why? Do they have privacy rights? Are they even citizens here? So, but let's move on to the judge. This judge should be removed from the bench. All right?
Jay's here. What's up, Jay?
No one knows better what she was doing than she herself. She made it clear in terms of her actions and in her words, her intent and in what she did. What's even more egregious here with this judge is that this defendant, who was in a courthouse, which was the essence of accountability, and for her, it's an escape. But what she did was this guy was in court for a trial on a domestic violence case. Two witnesses and victims were in the courtroom with the prosecution about to go forward. And this judge decides that she's going to move them out of the courthouse, tells ICE, you go see the other judge, the chief administrative judge, to get them out of the way, and creates a danger in the public so that there could be a shootout and other people could be harmed as well. But let me finally say that I want to know everything about this judge. If this judge went so far as to try to get an illegal on trial for domestic violence out of the courthouse so that he not be held accountable, I want to know how many of these cases have been dismissed. I want to know how many victims have had a case go forward where their rights were protected, what the prosecutors have to say about this judge, because it's not enough.
That's a good point.
For her to just be charged with this crime. Yeah. And by the way, she may have judicial immunity, but only for judicial acts. This is not a judicial act.
Those questions crossed my mind too. In the kickoff to the first one, the first 100 days, the administration led with their strong foot, which is the border security and immigration. Good idea?
I suppose so. But first of all, the first 100 days is a media creation.
Yes.
Right? It's just designed as a hook for producers to come up with an angle in the summer. Because what else are we going to do right now? There's nothing really going on. The criticism, though, about Trump's 100 days is marred by one thing. They claim Republicans are critical. They're not. They love what they see.
We'll come back to this in just a minute, but what the fuck? This is the Canadian elections right now. Look at how Mark Carney's number or his chances on Polymarket tanked. The Pierre guy skyrocketed. And is this like when the website went down and then suddenly the chances went way back up? What is happening? Now, again, this is Polymarket, so this is just odds. These are just odds. So I just want to make sure that's clear. These are just odds. But still, that is very strange right there. Of course, this is Mark Mitchell. We've had him on before. He's from Rasmussen. He's a good dude. That is wild. So, but anyway, I just saw that and I wanted to show everybody that. Let's get back to this and I'll keep an eye on everything.
They just want more. And then when you look at the Democrats' criticism, you have to ask a follow-up question. What is it that's bothering you? They don't have an answer because they actually have no solutions. It's always these platitudes like Chuck Schumer. It's a constitutional crisis. What does that really mean? Can you point to anything? But it is only 100 days, and yet it feels like 1,000. It's because Trump does easily 10 times what any previous president does. It's like he went from a dial-up modem to 5G. It's like I don't have to sit in front of my laptop and wait for something to happen. He says it and it happens. And you're right. He basically pointed to the what do you call it, to the stands, the bleachers, and said, I'm going to hit a home run, and he did that on illegal immigration. He didn't just end it. I mean, he flattened it.
Yeah.
And by doing that, he exposed that the Democrats have been lying all the time when they were saying their hands were tied. Well, it looks like their hands had blood on them because they let a lot of criminals in that killed people. He also crushed the structural racism of DEI. He fulfilled his promise to get women out of sports. And that was quick. And now you have imposters like Slotkin going, well, it really wasn't an important issue at all. Well, if it wasn't that important, why were you so cowardly and not actually defending the women and the girls who are subject to that travesty? The only thing that's kind of out there's a couple of things. Tariffs, you can't judge that in 100 days. But as predicted, the people that were screaming about the massive drop in the stock market are not saying a word, Harold, about it returning to normal or near normal. And we also have to think about Doge. Are we even close to the goal necessary to prevent economic collapse? No. And everything we just talked about is pointless unless we solve that.
Okay, and Jesse, let me go to you next. We'll save Harold for last so that he can,
Why?
Well, I figured we were just on a roll.
Sure, let's
keep
keep it
this
going.
roll going. Can you keep the roll going?
I just love that Trump put these signs on the lawn. Only a president who watches cable news all day could come up with a stunt like that. He's like, you know what? You wanted to see my mugshot? Well, here's Jose's mugshot, and he's going home. Adios. This is in the back of every single live shot all day long, and they can't do anything about it. But they did it at MSNBC, Dana. They pixelated the faces. Now, we have a thing in cable television. You only blur.
No, they didn't. MSNBC blurred the faces. Are you kidding me? Oh, no. Good Lord. I can't believe that.
Live shot all day long, and they can't do anything about it. But they did it at MSNBC, Dana. They pixelated the faces. Now, we have a thing in cable television. You only blur faces of minors. They're blurring the faces of people convicted of raping
Criminals.
minors.
Yes.
And why are they coddling these people? Dana, as you know, there was a school of thought during the time of, I believe, European imperialism. It is known as the noble savages. Now, the Western elites believe that these indigenous people were almost more morally superior to the West because they were in harmony with nature. They were pure. They were uncorrupted by the materialism of modern society. So they were put on a pedestal, and they were not allowed to be characterized as evil in any way. And this is what the modern left is doing with these people. They are coddling them and protecting them. And even if they do something bad, it's blurred out, it's ignored, because you have to keep that the same way. The judges are doing it too. They're making planes turn around. They're keeping these guys in their homes, MS-13, and now they're aiding and abetting the escape. They have sworn to administer justice, and then they're letting these people escape justice by putting themselves and the criminal above the law. And if Trump tries to execute the law, he's not allowed to do that. I have a law in my family.
Oh.
The children are not allowed to sleep or sit or touch the floor of an airport. We were at the airport today. What does Jesse Jr. do? The kid sits. He knows I can't stand that. I say, Jesse, you can't sit on the floor of the airport. He goes, okay. You know what he does? He squats. He did that on purpose. And I pick him up. And then you know what he does? He steals his sister's bag, sits on the bag. That's violating the spirit of the law in my family. So I grab him, I pull it up like that. Now, I'm allowed to administer justice. I'm allowed to execute the law of the land. It's my family. And if someone was to come in and say, your son's allowed to sit on the floor, or you're not allowed to pull your son up from the airport floor, that would be dangerous. Because if you allow that, you have chaos.
Wow.
Keep it rolling, Harold.
Yeah, Harold, I'm going to go.
That was pretty good right there. Now, we had today, Tom Homan steps up to the podium and just, dude, I love this guy.
He's scared that Mexico is not going to pay for it? Is that what you're
Let's
saying?
address that. Trump said Mexico will pay for the wall. They have in a roundabout way, have they not? Putting 10,000 military on the northern and southern border, taking the action they did remain in Mexico. They didn't have to do that. They're doing it. put military on the southern border, have moved illegal immigration to a record low. We're saving millions of dollars every day on detention, transportation, removal proceedings. We've more than made up for the cost of that wall because the actions of Mexico. So is Mexico helping build that wall? Yeah, because we're saving so much money, millions of dollars a day, that we can afford to build that wall. So actually, yes, they're helping to build the wall.
Dude, he's such a badass. I've said this 1,000 times, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. If you've been in retail like me, Tom Holman reminds me of that good old country boy that was the meat department manager, the meat cutter. You know, like you just, your good old small town grocery store, and you're like, you go up there to the supermarket and ask for Tom. Tom will take care of it. That's what he just looks like. He's a meat department manager, but now he's just making America great again instead. He's awesome. He is such a badass. I love this dude so much. Let's listen to the 5 round this out. Let's see if Harold can stick the landing.
You can keep it rolling after that.
I'm taking notes on airport rules for my kid. I think those are good rules. Good to be back with everybody. I'd say a couple of things. FDR was the first person to talk about the first 100 days because the country was in economic disrepair and the country wanted to know what happened the first 100 days. The polling we see today, there's some good things for the president. You mentioned some of the DEI stuff, some of the gender stuff, and obviously some of the immigration, but really the border. The president's numbers are mid-50s. I'm part of the mid-50s. It would sound like what the president's doing.
By the way, there's a huge psyop going on right now to try to tell you that President Trump's poll numbers are the worst we've seen in, I don't know, God knows how long. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But yes, that whole thing has started. They're also working on impeachment for President Trump. We're going to talk about that. It's 100% bullshit. And the media has almost no leg to stand on because nobody's listening to them anymore.
Doing on the border. We cut down on people crossing it. I'd probably be with the mixed group. It was about 48, depending on which poll who looked at how the president was doing on immigration. I have a different opinion about the judge. I think the judge in the case in Milwaukee and the ICE agents were wrong. I don't think you correct that wrong by arresting her. They got that guy they wanted. And I think the Chief Justice there should, let me just finish. I think the Chief Judge should say that you shouldn't, if we're harboring anybody, we shouldn't be doing that. 3, as much as the president was good on the border, we shouldn't kid ourselves, and no one around the table should. The reason the president was elected was the border and the economy. We talked about inflation and the high prices. Dana has said this before. It's the next 100 days that are most important. But if President Trump's numbers were high on the economy, then the president wouldn't be upside down on his approval ratings. He has the lowest approval in 100 days, first 100 days,
here we go,
since they've done polling, which was since 1945. And that's because the economy and how people are feeling about their economic futures are down. Now, I'm consistent on this. When President Biden and his team were telling the American people that they were doing better than the numbers suggested, I came on this show and others and said there are a long line of politicians who are sitting at home today because they tried to tell people you're doing better than you think you are. 70% of those polled believe that we are at or near a recession. A little more than that number believes that we're not doing right on tariffs, whatever anyone around the table wants to say about tariffs. And about that same number don't like all of the cuts in government. They like the idea and they believe that we can shrink and get out the redundancies and the fraud and abuse, but they think we can be doing it a little bit better. But I end on this. Democrats shouldn't show too much glee here. We have to offer ideas ourselves. The first 100 days, the president did not end the war in Ukraine, like he said, in 24 hours. He did not end all the fighting in the Middle East, and he certainly hasn't reduced prices. But guess what? That is not redounded to our benefit yet. It will only redound when we actually start talking about ideas and we put forward positive plans for the future.
Well, then,
and that's the next segment.
Well, then you're not going to like the next segment.
Well, I mean, that is true. I wish Trump would have never said 24 hours when he was talking about Ukraine and Russia, because he said that a lot during his administration. And I don't know, he's putting emphasis on it. It's a good selling point. It's a good thing to say. But it's not completely within his he doesn't have all the power in this situation right now. It's kind of hard to put the toothpaste back into the tube. So it's not his mess per se, but he's having to try to clean it up. But he's the one that put himself on the line by saying that. And clearly it was a much more complicated situation than he was probably selling it to be. But I get it. You know, it's not like he hasn't tried. It's not like he hasn't But I mean, 100 days in, when you said you would have it done in 24 hours, that's a valid criticism. And this is the thing about the liberals, man. There's valid criticisms of Trump. Like, if you want to criticize Donald Trump, go for it. There's valid things to say. No one's saying you can't. I personally, like, my fandom for Trump, my support for Trump is just as much about the liberals and is it's basically me saying go fuck yourself as it is the fact that I like Trump. I've always liked Trump, but it's the hysteria surrounding him and the liberals and the way that they behave and their weaponization of politics that has made me a bigger fan of Trump. And as I've said many times, the reason I talk about Trump so much is to trigger these fucking weirdos, because I don't ever want someone to become a fan of me based on Geeks and Gamers or video games or sports and then find out, oh my God, he's a Trump supporter, I can't support him. I need you to know right here and right now, I'm a Trump supporter. If that bothers you, then fuck off. It's that simple. Because I don't have time for little bitty sensitive bitches to be following me around on social media and then get triggered over one issue. I don't like single issue voters. I don't like people that base everything off of one in particular opinion that, oh, well, I can't support this person anymore because they have an opinion I don't agree with. I'm always going to have opinions you don't agree with. That's called life. The reason I keep wearing this Mario hoodie is because one person in my comments said, you made good points, but I can't take you seriously wearing the Mario hoodie. Well, I'm going to fucking wear it even more now. That's literally the only reason I keep wearing it. And every time I think like, oh, am I going to put like my black hoodie on or, my Geeks and Gamers is like, no, let's just keep wearing the Mario hoodie because that fucking guy said he can't take me seriously wearing a Mario hoodie. I'm going to keep fucking wearing it so you can't take me seriously, because if your brain is so sensitive to the fact that I'm wearing a fucking video game character hoodie that you can't take me seriously, I'm going to keep working towards your insecurities because I think it's funny. So I'll keep doing it. That's just how I'm programmed to do. So yeah, my support for Trump it's equally as much about Trump as it is about the left-leaning weirdos, because I am old school where I never cared to put my politics out there. I never felt like it was important. I still didn't feel it was important even after 2016, after I voted for Trump. I didn't feel that putting my politics out there for everyone, I never felt that was necessary, because I was, I grew up in a time where it's like, hey, you have your opinions, but things you don't really talk about is religion and politics. That's kind of how, I grew up. You don't talk about religion and you don't talk about politics at the dinner table. That's essentially how it was. You could talk about anything else, but you leave those two things. And the left decided that they were going to weaponize anybody that supported Trump. They're going to find out who are these business leaders that support Trump. We're going to expose them. So I decided might as well just go ahead and make it part of my online, identity. If this is how you want to do it, then let me just tell you who I am. Just whip it out on the table and slap it down and so you can witness it for yourself. That's the way I looked at it. Fuck these liberals. They need to be constantly reminded that we don't care about their opinions on anything. Yes, there are valid criticisms of Trump. None of their criticisms about Trump are valid. They're all from a left-wing psychopathic perspective that don't have any grip on reality. That's why they can't be taken seriously. Let's see. Buster Nut Smash says, I disagree. David Cronenberg is the best Canadian. Bret Hart, baby. He'd put him in a sharpshooter. Thank you, Buster Nut Smash. I appreciate it. Jeff Hill says, 100 days of Donald Trump, who's the best president in my lifetime, and I'm 51. And oh, by the way, I never forgot that match with Bret Hart and Stone Cold. It was just put into the Hall of Fame for WWE, and I agree with that. It's arguably the greatest wrestling match ever, the Stone Cold versus Bret Hart match at WrestleMania, an all-timer. And with no gimmicks, no BS, no title on the line. It was just two dudes wanting to beat the hell out of each other. Perfect storytelling. Perfect storytelling. John freaking Murdoch, 4 50, and it's not showing up in my StreamYard for some reason. In all fairness, I can't take Jeremy seriously no matter what he wears, especially with the facial hair. I do prefer the MAGA hoodie, though. No homo. Thank you, John freaking Murdoch. Appreciate you, brother. Good to see you. I know. I was like, man, I didn't stream Friday. I'm like, John Murdoch is going to be pissed because I'm not streaming, you know? But in all reality, so what I did on Friday, so I had, I got tied up on a local stream, and again, gayest name ever, I understand, but Locals is essentially a Patreon alternative. That's where you can support us. We do a lot over there. And Friday, I actually streamed, Beardo was covering Friday Night SmackDown. So after Friday Night Tights, I then jumped over there. And that stream lasted like 3 hours. And when I was done, I was thinking about doing a late CobraCast. But as you know, like I said, my mom is dealing with some heart issues right now. And we've got to keep her heart rate down. So she can't do anything that kind of gets her, like, you know, heart rate up. And I get done and I go over there and I go into her house and she's watching Endgame. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I'm watching Endgame. I was like, you ever seen Endgame? No, this is the first time. Did you watch Infinity War? Yeah, I get really excited too. Like, Mom, you can't fucking watch Endgame if you got to keep your heart rate down. She's all like hooked. And I'm like, I got to sit here and watch Endgame with you now because you're going to get too worked up. So I was like, you can't watch Endgame and Infinity War if your heart, because she gets really invested. All right. God dang it. Because my dad was out of town working. So I was like, what are we doing? Now I got to sit here with you and watch you. So I couldn't stream. So I personally, I love Endgame. I know it's got problems. I'm unapologetic. I love it. Infinity War is the best Marvel movie ever, though. But I absolutely, from a fan service standpoint, I love Endgame. I got a couple problems with the ending for sure. And yeah, logic, there's a lot of logical problems with the movie, but I fucking love that movie, man. I love it. It just brought back good memories to watch Endgame. So it was pretty cool. It's been a long time since I saw it. So, Swords and Starships for 20 says, Commander, a salute for defending Interstellar, the ultimate journey across time and space against Drinker and Mahler. I'm working on a video paying tribute to Nolan's best film on my channel. It's not impossible. It's necessary. Hell yes. Thank you, Swords and Starships. Hey, Interstellar is my favorite movie of all time. I will never apologize for that. I think it's, I don't like saying this because it comes off like, you know, a weird, when people say this, it comes from an elitist standpoint, and I don't mean it like this, but I truly believe that to fully appreciate Interstellar, you need to be a parent. I just think you do. It doesn't mean that you're automatically going to love it if you're a parent, but I think to maximize Interstellar, if as a parent, it hits you differently. And as I've said, my daughter was the same age as Murph when that movie came out. So it hits me on a whole different level that it's kind of like hard to argue it or stuff like that. But like, I do think Interstellar is a great movie. I think it has some issues, but on an emotional level, I think Interstellar is as good as you're ever going to see from a parental standpoint. Luis C. for 10 says, not to start any drama, but Nerdrotic has been spreading rumors about you, alleging that you're not gay and that you like women. Is this true? Who is this Nerdrotic guy you're talking about, by the way? I don't really care for gay hippie YouTubers. I kind of keep my distance from gay hippie YouTubers. Nerdrotic sounds like a gay hippie YouTuber. Probably just like cruising around in a fucking, you know, psychedelic van. You know, I could see that, right? Thank you, Louis C. Drunken Jedi says, man, I live in Colorado Springs with this busting raid. I feel more safe. That's the point right there. That's the point. And you should be. You're not. Obviously, there's still going to be some problems, and you can't feel 100% safe. But yeah, you should feel more safe with all of this. Panic and Skyfaller says, Trump fooled the left into openly supporting China, Wall Street, MS-13, hatred of Jews, government corruption, taking away jobs, vandalizing, all while approval numbers for Dems is at an all-time low. Donald Trump is the greatest troll of all time. He absolutely is the greatest troll of all time. There's nobody close. That is the art of the deal from Trump, because he knows what he's doing. When he does these things, he knows what he's doing, and he knows the reaction that it's going to get from the media, and he still lets it twist them up. Like he said this earlier today. So he had the Philadelphia Eagles at the White House today, at least some of them. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But listen to President Trump right here.
Which I was there. I watched in person. I was there along with Taylor Swift. How did that work out? How did that one work out? The Eagles. Which I was there.
He knows what he's doing, man. And he's fantastic at it. But but yes, you had Saquon Barkley, who was at the White House today with President Trump. He was at the White House yesterday with President Trump. And Saquon Barkley, this is the exact way every professional athlete should act. How Saquon Barkley, because I personally don't know if Saquon is an actual Trump supporter or not, and it doesn't really matter. Who cares? But here's what Saquon had to say. Right here. He says, LOL, some people are really upset because I played golf and flew to the White House with the president. Maybe I just respect the office, not a hard concept to understand. Just golfed with Obama not too long ago and look forward to finishing my round with Trump. Now get out of my mentions with all these politics and have an amazing day. That's exactly how it should be right there. Maybe I just respect the office. What a crazy, crazy concept right there from Saquon Barkley. Why is Twitter? Is Twitter down right now for anybody else? Look at this. I hit refresh, but nothing's happening. So I don't know if Twitter's down for anybody else. I'm trying to see. No? Well, 38 minutes ago. So I don't know. That's weird that tweet wasn't loading. So, but either way, it's fine. Saquon Barkley handling it the right way. Do you know who's not handling it the right way? Jalen Hurts. Now, I've always been a fan of Jalen Hurts. I've always liked Jalen Hurts because he was at the University of Alabama. I thought he was a great leader. He handled, everything perfectly when he got benched for Tua Tagovailoa. He handled it like a true leader should. Then he eventually transferred to Oklahoma and, had a good career there, became an NFL starting quarterback, and then won a Super Bowl. But he is a little bitch because he decided a scheduling conflict would not allow him to go to the White House today. So a really, really bad leader when it comes to that. Now, I've always thought he was a good leader on the football field. But, yeah, man, the fact that he would not show up to the White House with his teammates, pretty bad. So we'll see if that has any impact moving forward on, how he's perceived with his team. But I was very disappointed. Very, very disappointed. Okay, let's see here. So it looks like I'm looking at the Canadian numbers right now, and no way, hang on. These Canadian numbers are kind of crazy, so let's see. Well, the poly market stuff, I don't know if poly market should be taken seriously or not. I really have no idea. But it does look like Mark Carney is running away with it, which is kind of what we expected. That Pierre guy just continues to talk shit about President Trump. It's very, very, very weird that guy has decided to make Trump part of his, attacking Trump part of his narrative, but I guess whatever. We also had Caroline Leavitt announces that President Trump will require truck drivers to be proficient in English to drive on U.S. roads by an executive order.
And then the third executive order, which actually speaks to the heart of your question earlier about the Uber drivers, will be a order directing the Department of Transportation to include English literacy tests for our truckers. This is a big problem in the trucking community that, unless you're in that community, you might not know, but there's a lot of communication problems between truckers on the road, with federal officials and local officials as well, which obviously is a public safety risk. So we're going to ensure that our truckers, who are the backbone of our economy, are all able to speak English. That's a very common sense policy in the United States of America. So the president will be signing that later this afternoon.
Hell yes. I've told you before. I remember going down to South Florida. It was like on the outskirts of Miami. And I went into a Walmart and I literally felt like I was like, it's not that I felt, I was the minority. There wasn't anyone there speaking English. The PA, they were not speaking English on the PA. I couldn't ask a person there that worked there a question. No one seemed to know English. And I'm like, what has happened to this fucking country? Are you kidding me right now? I mean, at no point should a citizen of the United States of America ever be in that situation in your own country. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? John freaking Murdoch says, no worries about Friday. Mom takes precedence. Thank you, John. I appreciate it, brother. Z Herb says, I turned 13 when Interstellar dropped. Watched it for my birthday. I still remember it. Movie is fantastic. I don't care what anyone says. It's by far Nolan's best. P.S. Dunkirk is worse than Dark Knight Rises. That movie is underrated. Dunkirk's something I need to revisit. I'm not that high on Dunkirk. I don't hate it. I don't hate any Nolan movie. However, I think Tenet is his worst movie personally. I'm really worried about Odyssey. I'm really worried about the Odyssey. I just, because Ellen Page is in it, and also that fucking nut job John Leguizamo was in it. The casting is very strange, but we'll talk about that later. I don't want to, I'll talk that on Geeks and Gamers or whatever, but the Odyssey looks really strange. Now, Dunkirk, I saw Dunkirk in 70 millimeter IMAX. I thought it was great, a great theatrical experience. And I've seen it a couple times. I like Dunkirk because it's not so much, it's not Saving Private Ryan. A lot of people think it's about like, oh, I'm going to go in there and just see like an all-out war. It's not like that. It's about how he plays with time within that movie. I like Dunkirk. I love The Dark Knight Rises. I think The Dark Knight Rises is a disaster, but I love it anyway. It's a meme movie. I could literally just respond with Bane memes all day long on Twitter and have a full conversation with people. Bane memes are the greatest thing ever. Bane posting is the greatest thing ever, but I love it. But yes, Interstellar, goated. Let's see here. Got that one. Z Herb says, "What's up, Fig?" And then Kyle Caro says, "All hail MILFs." I mean, it's a universal stance. Patriotic Eagle says, "Speaking of football, unless I'm mistaken, Obama was a big sports guy, but never went to a Super Bowl." I don't think Obama ever went to a Super Bowl. I'll be honest. I don't think Obama was actually a sports guy. I think that I think that Obama being portrayed as a sports guy was an attempt to cover up the fact that he was gay. That's what I think. I think that was exactly what that was. They wanted to like, hey, Mr. President, we know you're gay as fuck, but we need to give you an image that you're a sports guy to make you look macho and tough. That's what I think. Wizard Man says Trump hates NFL owners. Remember the USFL? LOL. Yes. Golden Nugget says with Alina on Epstein files despite her being mid. What? Dragon Dad says unpopular Star Wars take: Attack of the Clones over Return of the Jedi, Rogue One over The Phantom Menace. Mando seasons 1 and 2 are tied for 4th place beneath A New Hope, Revenge of the Sith, and then Empire Strikes Back. Nice knowing you. All right, I got to unpack that one here. Attack of the Clones over Return of the Jedi? Stop. Rogue One over the Phantom Menace. I say the Phantom Menace, but the Phantom Menace, no. Mando seasons 1 and 2 tied in 4th place, but no. Whew. I don't hate your top 3 though, but everything else is bad. All right. Everything else is really bad, but I respect it. I respect it. Legalized adulthood's yelling at me. I missed your $2. Did you send it to? Oh, no, I did. I highlighted it and laughed at it. It's when we were listening to the Fox News thing. You threw shade at my winky, and now I can't see it. I did highlight that one. Legalized adulthood. You missed my $2 super. You fig. Are you throwing shade on me? Oh man. So today I responded with about Revenge of the Sith. I responded that it's my my favorite Star Wars movie, and man, that got a discussion going. So right here, episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, re-released, earned 42.2 million global at the box office. And I said my favorite Star Wars movie, thank you, George Lucas. And I stand by it. Now, a lot of people are like, I can't believe you said that, Jeremy. I didn't say it's the best Star Wars movie. I said it's my favorite. There's a big difference. The best Star Wars movie is Empire Strikes Back. That's not even a joke. All right. Like Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie, but Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie. Okay. And that's not always been like that. Revenge of the Sith has just gotten better over time. It's just gotten better. The more I've watched it, the more time that's passed, the more I've come to appreciate Revenge of the Sith. I love the opening battle. I love Revenge of the Sith so much. Let's see. Patriotic Eagle says, if MSNBC was blurring criminal mugshots, why didn't they blur themselves? After all, they were guilty of lying to America. That is true. Godzilla's Greaser says, from the same polls that said Kamala was going to win in a landslide. Exactly. Dark Gavel says, the left is fighting to protect criminals while fighting to kill the unborn. Fentanyl Floyd says, why do people take approval ratings as gospel from polling firms that get elections wrong? According to them, Kamala won Iowa and electoral landslide. That's right. Warbringer says, I miss when CobraCast isn't on more often, though. I understand your present circumstances. Is it gay that I've grown accustomed to your Bama drawl? It's very gay. It's very gay. Very gay. Thank you for the super chat. Eric K says, you make great points for a homosexual man from Alabama wearing a Mario hoodie, Crocs, and Krista's ripped jeans. Nick Hammerschmidt says, hey, Jeremy, is there going to be more hoodie, shirt, merch from Geeks and Gamers in the future? I have a hoodie with the Geeks and Gamers American flag. Yes, there is. I'm glad you asked. Yes, there is. Southeastern Kaiju says, saw the left attack Reagan, then W, but it's worse with Trump because they loved him before he beat her and then won again to the pain. Hail. Yeah, I mean, listen, I hated George W. Bush. I think I bought in for the first couple of years. And then I was like, and then I realized how horrible Bush was. But the left did attack him, but he kind of deserved it, to be fair. Madney says, could 100 Alabamians kill a gorilla barehanded? I've seen that whole conversation going on online, and I don't know what it's about. I'm a little confused. Horny Out says, I don't like when you wear cowboys, but drive me nuts hoodies. Guess that means that you need to wear it more often. No, it's the fact that, like, I'm not going to wear something that I've never worn before. I know, I understand the joke, but yeah, I'm not going to wear something I've never worn before. But if I'm wearing something, making a point, and then somebody just like, I can't believe you wore that, well, I'll fucking wear it again. I don't know why I'm like that. I just am. Leanback says, I can't take Jeremy seriously when he keeps dropping gifties. How gay do you have to be to buy the chat's love? Might unfollow. Nightcall says, you and me going through the same thing with our mom, from one loving son to another. Best wishes, brother. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Accident Seller says, inner gayer, ha ha ha, pwned. Dr. William says, Nerdrotic sounds like a lifelong Bon Jovi fan, someone that lives in San Francisco. RKKKK Outpost should come on to Tuesday's main event so Beardo can learn to straight stuff. Luke Norris says, Jeremy, big fan, genuine question. If Tom Brady had skipped the White House meeting with Biden in 2021 because he didn't like him, would you also consider that bad leadership? No, because Tom Brady did skip multiple ones, if I'm not mistaken. I think he skipped multiple. Didn't he skip? He skipped one with Obama and Trump, if I'm not mistaken, or not Trump. Was Trump there? I can't remember. But Brady skipped multiple ones as well. But the reason being is that Jalen Hurts has made it clear when Jalen Hurts couldn't simply answer a fucking question from a reporter, when he couldn't even answer a question, all he had to say was, I don't want to get into the politics. He couldn't even answer the question. It was pathetic. That's where it shows me. It's like, so I took up for Jalen Hurts. I said yesterday in Sports Wars chat, I said, hey, I think Jalen just thought that the question was stupid. I think he'll be there. Guess what? He wasn't there because why? Because I guess he doesn't like Trump. And in this politically divisive time, this is a time where people are going to be defined off of that, because right now the left is winning in so many places. Obviously, Trump is the president, and there's a lot of things that are going well. But like, look at the Shedeur Sanders situation right now. Just so you guys understand, let me see if I can find it. I tweeted this out yesterday. Where did it go? Right here. There's more outrage from the media over a prank phone call than when a dude got stabbed and killed. You don't hate the media enough. Okay? So there was a player just recently, a white player that got prank phone called in the same way that Shedeur Sanders got prank phone called. Guess what? Media didn't say shit about it. Media didn't say shit about it. But the prank phone call for Shedeur, it was because of white supremacy, everyone. White supremacy was the reason. Now, again, what is the reason that Jalen Hurts didn't show up to the White House, along with the plethora of other players? Because he wasn't the only one, by the way. I have the list right here. I had this pulled up for tonight. So there's a list of Philadelphia Eagles players that didn't show up to the White House. It's not just Jalen Hurts, by the way, right here. Boom. Among the Eagles players not at the White House today, there's a long list. So I guess they all just had prior plans. They couldn't show up, guys. That's bullshit. So I hope they pay dearly for it. I really do. So it is a time-honored tradition to go to the White House. You shouldn't be drawing a line in the sand. And I think it's bullshit. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but there was 2 times Brady didn't go. I think I criticized both times that Brady didn't go. Because I didn't buy it. Just like Garth Brooks wouldn't show up for Trump, but he showed up for Obama. Imagine that. He had a scheduling conflict. That's what Garth Brooks said when President Trump wanted him. But when Barack Obama wanted him to come sing for him, guess what? Garth Brooks showed up immediately. Because Garth Brooks is a bitch. I grew up a huge Garth Brooks fan. No Fences is one of the best country albums. I loved No Fences. Rope in the Wind. His other, there's so many Garth Brooks albums. Double Live was such a great, with his live performances. He came out with Double Live. Garth Brooks is a bitch for what he did. But I appreciate it, Luke. I appreciate the question. 1992 Space Movie says, as a trucker myself, that ED is sadly necessary. I can't tell you how many times people who drive trucks who can't speak or read English. You would think Jeremy is one, because he never reads my super chats. Never reads them. Never. Toby Keith. I like Toby Keith. Yes, Garth Brooks played at Biden's inauguration. 100%. Absolutely. Z-Herb says, Australia is having its election this week. Our choices are slim pickings. Not particularly great. Both choices have issues, and both supported pushing the internet speech laws. Shaking my fucking head. Yeah, I have no grasp of how things are over in Australia. I feel for you, though, for sure, man. I do. Cosmic Thunder says, if Carney wins, Canada deserves whatever they get from him. Their country has always been a joke. Don't expect it to change. Zihoni says, honestly, you can't argue that Bill Clinton is on the Epstein list more than Trump when literally both of them flew with Epstein. Just saying. Well, the difference is, though, is, there's documentation of Trump kicking Jeffrey Epstein out. I think it was Mar-a-Lago, but banning him from Mar-a-Lago because of something happening with another. I might be misremembering this. I'd have to look it up. It's documented, but Trump banned Jeffrey Epstein from, I believe, Mar-a-Lago once there was an incident with another member's daughter. I think that's what it was. It was another member's daughter, and then Trump banned him from Mar-a-Lago. So there's a pattern of like Trump showing like, I don't want anything to do with this guy. I don't want him near me. I don't want him near anything. So clearly Trump had some level of relationship with Epstein back in the day, when Epstein was rubbing shoulders with all these famous people. But then Trump found out, oh, you think it was a staff? Okay. I know it was some, I thought it was either a member or maybe someone that worked there. So, let's see. Sola Felix says federal election here in Australia is this Saturday. The commies have been destroying this country for the past 3 years, but idiot NPCs still probably vote for them. I don't understand it, man. If he was on their list, they would have released it last year. Oh, I firmly believe that. Taker says, look on the bright side. Mark Hamill, 100 days down, only 1360 to go. It's also the 10th anniversary of TFA and the birth of Jake Skywalker. Man, I remember actually being excited for The Force Awakens and being so excited after The Force Awakens. What a fool I was. I didn't know it was gay for $1. Says Richard Waring says, arresting a president is a sign of weakness, not strength. Let's see, Fantastic Person Knox says, good day and hail. Democrats should change their slogan to we are the illegals because it's the right thing to do because F American citizens. Andy Plays Game says, as a member of Jeremy's base, we need to hold him to account when he tries to act straight. Fantastic Person Knox says, to be frank, seeing Hassan mad about Tim in the press secretary room is priceless since Hassan sees himself more of a journalist than Tim. Envy and jealousy at its finest. Yeah, I guess like the New York Times did some fucking, guess they did like a puff piece on Hassan, and the title was, what did they say? Like a liberal mind and a MAGA body or some shit like that. So weird. I didn't read it. I try to not keep up with Hassan at all. Occasionally I'll see stuff that hits my news feed, but I don't understand the Hassan thing at all. I don't understand how he gets people to watch him. I really don't. Panic and Skyfaller says, promise to get women out of sports, LOL. Babo Yogi says, Homan is the press in the press room this morning was fire. Storm Shadow says, Quinn Ewers wore a Trump tie pin before the college football games. You need better evaluation of QBs. Hook 'em, roll Eagle. I think Tua might be a Trump supporter. I mean, at the end of the day, I personally don't care who my athletes vote for, really. I just would rather not know anything about their politics. That's the truth of the matter. I don't think a player is better or worse because they support Trump. I think that that's irrelevant to them as a player. I would rather just not know their politics. And so I would have to worry about it. But the problem is that more of them seem to think that their politics are important enough to bring up to everybody else. Accident Seller says, have you tried American Truck Simulator? It looks fun. I got a steering wheel and pedals. It looks crazy addictive, though, so probably not a good idea. I've thought about trying some of those out. I have not, though. I have not tried it. Horny Alf says, Jeremy, I understand needing a break for family. I'm in the middle of a bad divorce, but I'm focusing on my kids for a better future. Life is hard. It matters how you deal with it. Hey, brother, I hope everything goes well. Yeah, I've got a great family and support system, so all is good. But I'm a family person. I'm a family person, so I'm definitely, focused on that aspect right now because I'm getting older. My parents are getting older. Older people get, the less time you have with them. You know what I mean? So. Bentley for 10 says, was at a wedding in Pensacola over the weekend, first time in Florida. Never had Culver since I'm from California, so I went to one there. Really good, but I'm scared it'll turn me into a fig like it did to you. I'm glad you got to try it. I have cut Culver's completely. No more Culver's for me. I am clean eating now. I cut soda out about a month ago. and I didn't want to cut everything out. So now I am no more fast food for me. Just because I've got to start eating better, and cutting soda was a huge thing for me. And don't get me wrong, when I say I cut soda, like I'll still occasionally have soda, but like it's 90% of the soda that I was drinking, which was literally every day. I've cut 90% of soda out. I've had to. I'm 45 years old now. I can't keep. I have lived and eaten whatever I've wanted for my entire life. Eventually that will catch up if I don't make some changes. So yeah, I have to stop. I have to stop eating like shit. And I have had a terrible diet for a long time, but I'm glad. I'm excited to, I think I'll start to feel, not that I feel bad, but I'm sure I'll feel better. Let's see. Is it Yasagi says, where are the bodies, Garth? The families deserve closure. That is such a good troll from that comedian. I can't remember what that comedian is that trolls Garth Brooks, but it's so damn good. Davis Mart says, comments on media saying Trump approval going down. Yeah, I mean, it's a psyop. It's 100% bullshit. That the media is trying to push that into reality, and it's not going to work. Just like everything else the media has tried to push into reality. As a matter of fact, let me show you this right here. So this is essentially what the Democrats' plan is moving forward, is is to push this bullshit. Like, and you've got this clown. I can't remember this clown's name. This guy right here. There's a Black conservative perspective, but he says Democrats trying to make the midterms about impeaching Trump is one of the worst ideas ever. So this clown right here is talking about impeaching Trump.
This is Congressman Shri Thanedar.
This is the first time I've heard it. This is the first time I've heard it. Like, I've not actually heard it. I want to make a lot of inappropriate jokes right now. I want to make a lot of inappropriate jokes.
This is Congressman Shri Thanedar. Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy, but defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump. The court said the wrongfully deported Kilmer Garcia must be allowed to return and receive due process. Trump ignored it. He ignored the Constitution. He ignored the very checks and balances that keep our democracy intact.
God.
This isn't an isolated incident. It's part of a dangerous, deliberate pattern. That's why today I introduced a resolution to impeach Donald J. Trump, outlining 7 articles of impeachment. Article 1, obstruction of justice and...
See, why is it I can say Tom Homan looks like he would be the meat department manager at your local grocery store, but I can't say that this guy looks like he works at a hotel or a 7-Eleven? Why can't I say that? Why is it racist when I say it about him? Why is it racist when I make those jokes, but I can make jokes about Tom Homan and it's okay?
Abuse of executive power, from denying due process to unlawful deportations, Trump defied court orders. Article 2, taking away Congress's power of the purse. Trump dismantled agencies and froze funds without permission from Congress. Article 3, abuse of trade powers and international aggression. He imposed damaging tariffs and threatened military invasions of our allies. Article 4, violation of First
Antonio Brown, AB tweeted this out right here. Oh, man. This is so good. This is who the Democrats have decided is going to be the face of their anti-Trump movement.
Amendment rights. He has retaliated against journalists, attorneys, and critics for exercising their right to free speech. Article 5. Creation of an unlawful office establishing the so-called Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, and giving Elon Musk unconstitutional power over our government and personal data. Article 6. Bribery and corruption. He has dismissed criminal cases and solicited payments from foreign governments and courts.
I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Democrats, can you please bring forward at least a dude that, you know, could speak proper English at least? Okay, they got somebody. We got a dude. We got a dude for the Democrats. Here we go. What's this dude got to say right here? What's this dude got to say about President Trump? At least this dude can actually speak. Okay, so let's listen. All right, let's listen to what this dude has to say.
Couldn't be. We couldn't walk around saying valedictorian, straight A student, speaks excellent, has excellent diction if you give them a chance.
What? Oh man, it's freezing up on me.
Saying valedictorian, straight A student, speaks excellent, has excellent diction if you give them a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we knew very early on that no one was going to see beyond the color of our skin at an early age. And that could get you in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk about that fear, I'm sure that fear has been tested across your life in so many different places. And I wonder, what would you say has been the most hardest recent test of that fear? Because it's not one of those fears that you kind of get over and it just goes away. It kind of shows its head in many different ways, I imagine.
Well, in this current climate for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants. So it's not the fear for myself anymore. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city. And now that we have leadership that is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't, and we know that those decisions aren't being made with courts and with due process, and that it's being made like this cop that pulled my brother over when he was 12. You don't look like somebody that belongs. I can determine just by looking at you that you're a good person or you're not a good person. And knowing that there's so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance that fuels those kind of.
This is the Democratic Party. This is all they have. This is all they have. I know, pulled over at 12 never happened. The other point of that is she said that then they looked up at the officer and said, freedom. 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 Fish shooter for $100. MAGA red $100. Did you see the angry cops on the Unsubscribed podcast? I would like to hear your thoughts on it. I didn't, but I'm going to have to look into this. You're the second person that's mentioned it now, so I have to look into this. So I will give you my thoughts on the next CobraCast. I will look into this. So thank you, Fish Shooter, and thank you for bringing that up. So I'm gonna have to look into it now. So I will report back to you.
Choices. I worry for people of color all over this country. And I don't know that we will have the advocates to protect everybody. And that frightens me. It keeps me up at night.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I'm gonna be real with you guys for a minute. I too have been losing sleep at night. I've been losing sleep at night because I've been really worried. I've been really worried about the online infrastructure of the next Mario Kart game. I'm really worried about it. I'm concerned. I hope that they fix the online, and I hope that there's no real rubber banding issues as well with because sometimes like you'll see like someone skip out in front of you. We already know there's rubber banding overall in Mario Kart, but the rubber banding is out of control when they're skipping in front of you. So I understand this is a tough environment to live in. I understand. So I too am not sleeping well at night over Mario Kart. So this is tough.
And I know that I see that when I'm driving around LA, I'm just looking in the faces of folks who could be victim. And I'm wondering, how are you feeling? How do you feel standing on the bus stop? How do you feel comfortable going to work, going to school, when you know that there could be people out here judging you and who could upend your life in a second? That's who I worry for right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's really bad when you have people that get arrested for making memes. Oh, that's right. That happened during the Biden administration. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's really bad when you get arrested for going on a guided tour. Oh, wait. No, that happened with the Biden administration as well. It's really bad when, illegal immigrants are running into the country and then killing Americans. Oh, wait. No, that was a Biden administration too. The point behind all of this is that the Democratic spokespeople, whether it's Big Mike, whether it's Jasmine Crockett, whether it's AOC, whether it's 7-Eleven guy, they have nobody. Crazy Bernie Sanders, is that going to be your guy? Crazy Bernie Sanders? This is insane to me that that this is all they have. It's a good thing as far as I'm concerned. Oh no. Here we go.
Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy, but defying a unanimous 9-0 Supreme Court ruling, that has to be the final straw. It's time we impeach Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump has already done real damage to our democracy.
Dude, Maze has some of the best. He has some of the best stuff out there, bro. He really does. Holy crap. That's amazing. Woo! That is good stuff right there. I saw this one right here. So I don't know if you guys saw that plane crash that happened in DC, helicopter crash in January. The pilot ignored several warnings by her male co-pilot to turn before the collision. Obviously, this is a tragic situation. But what's funny is the tweet right here. What's wrong? Nothing. Any man can understand that meme right there. Hey, what's wrong? Nothing. That's 100% it right there. Like, okay. Well, I mean, do you want to talk about it? There's nothing wrong. Okay. Well, I'm just trying to help. Yeah, like that's it right there. What's wrong? Nothing. Boom, crash, kill a bunch of people. Unbelievable, man. Sad, sad reality. Identity politics will ultimately be the long-term cancer that will have a deep impact on this society, man. I mean, identity politics is the worst thing ever. It really is. And this is why when people say, like, can you explain wokeness to me? Well, first of all, no, because you're gay. I want to say another word. I'm getting real comfortable saying that word once again. And I wish it was acceptable to say. It's like on locals, like my vocabulary is much different when I'm not on the internet. And yes, technically we can say that stuff on locals, but and even like on Rumble, if I was just on Rumble, the whole point is though I don't want to get comfortable saying things on stream that I think could get the channel in trouble. It's super gay that I have to worry about that. But yeah, it is what it is. So, but the point being, let's see, hang on. Jeremy's Alabama vocabulary. I mean, hey, listen, all right. Bob Saget, a Jeremy self-edit, died by DEI. Yeah, so whenever people say that, though, and it's like, well, first of all, if a person ever asks you that, that's not coming from a good faith place at all. It's somebody that is trying to be cute and manipulative and intentionally stupid. But I always say that, like, anyone that defines another human being off of identity is someone that should never be taken seriously in any capacity whatsoever. You should never define another person off of that. You just shouldn't. And the left has decided that that's the only thing they want to identify people off of: who they sleep with, who they identify as, what they do in the bedroom, what, and in all reality, they don't actually define people off of their race unless they can use, well, they do, but they define it based off, can I use your race to my advantage? You know what I mean? And that's just a horrible way to look at life, but look how much it's destroyed the way that we operate in society. You can't even make a prank call to a black person without being called a white fucking supremacist now, without the mainstream media putting a full investigation on a prank phone call. It's a prank phone call. It's unbelievable how far we've fallen from that perspective. It's a woke grift. Yeah, that's stupid. We live in a society. That's why I don't watch them. That's right. That's why you watch the hard-hitting news here, CobraCast 199. Eric K says, Brett Hitman Hart, the best there was, the best there ever will, best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be. Mexican Iron Man says, I love the lawn signs. This is the greatest presidency we will ever see in our lifetime. Hail fearless leader Jeremy and the 199. Thank you. Rude Collie says, Afuela. How do you say that? Afuela. Afuela. How does Jay do it? Accident Seller says, you missed this super chat. You didn't read this. I never do. Emu Ataku. Ataku. Some audience members and I clapped during the Youngling scene during the Friday screening. If there's a hell, I'm going there for sure. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it in theaters. I may go see it, but I do. I haven't really talked about this much, a little bit, but like, I guess there's this whole freak out over the which again, when I heard about the thing in during Andor, I was like, oh my God, they put sexual assault in there. They did that to it in a Star Wars movie. Like, it sounded bad. And then I watched Ryan's explanation of it on Daily, and then I went and watched it, and I'm like, wait, this is what everybody's upset over? And a lot of people on my side of the argument were like acting like this scene in Andor was a big deal. And I'm like, it ain't a big deal. It really ain't that big of a deal. I don't know why people pretended to be offended over that, but I think it's just because Star Wars, people are so just frustrated with Star Wars in general. But that scene in particular, it was nothing, man. It was nothing. Not the scene you're talking about, but I'm talking about the scene in Andor. I was like, really, guys? We're freaking out over that now? Like, what's the big deal? I mean, I didn't personally like the word rape in a Star Wars show. I mean, I guess that's where I was like, okay, I get that. But like the action, there wasn't anything that was like overly dramatized in that scene. My problem is who's making it and the messaging behind who's making it. That's my bigger problem, because they intentionally put a white empire male that was targeting an illegal immigrant in that situation. There's bigger implications than just the story, and we all know what those implications are. They also targeted illegal immigrants in general in the show, and the whole narrative was that these illegal immigrants are actually very good people. It was an allegory about Trump. That's what it was. That is the bigger problem with Andor. not the SA scene. The whole thing was an anti-Trump message. That's what Andor is. That's the problem with it, not the SA scene. Panic of Skyfaller says, Jeremy, I can't take you seriously when Krista wears short shorts on stream. Well, she's not here. Brockatron says, the Canadian federal election isn't looking too good right now. I will be waiting for the invasion, please. Cole Hauser says, what's up, Jeremy, my brother? Waiting to see what happens here in the Great White North. I voted, I voted to Trump, and I was proud of doing it. 199 Yojo, praise Allah. Keep us posted, brother. Keep us posted. Accident Seller says, yo, you missed my super cat. A mad fucking lion. Yo, what? Chick says, F Pedro Pascal, pass it on. I agree with that. Some says, do you need lax to make poo? No. Cretosis, what's up? What area of America is this guy's accent from? We talking about Tom Homan? I don't know, actually. I honestly don't know the answer to that question. Madney says, bro looks like an original Oblivion NPC. Or you were talking about, oh boy, whatever his name is. Were you talking about this dude right here? Probably this guy. Logan Miller says, is it Cherie is an alpha male? Elite Super Grunt says, I love this show and the Snake Pit. Jeremy is not gay. He is secretly Sydney Sweeney, and he owns a cat named Vagina. Hail to 199. Welcome to the rebellion. Beardo is gay. Force Geek says that Indian dude is really hitting those hard R's. NDI says, is he Asian or Indian? Is he 30 or is he 60? Is he smiling or is he mad? Is he gay or is he straight? All these questions are 100% valid. Holy shit. All those questions are valid right now. Filmcell Beardo says, this guy is trying to impeach Trump. Looks like an Indian George Lopez, and I'm an Indian, LOL. Storm Shadow says he was an engineer to help Johnny Five. Fantastic Knox says Harold and Kumar in government. Panic of Skyfaller, now Mr. Jones, you know the magic of The Rock. Irish Skywalker says, what the holy F? I'm from Michigan. I'm calling ICE. NDI says, yo, someone come get Sulu out of here. Panic of Skyfaller says he definitely can't be a trucker. Grazilus Greaser says, I'd like to point out Jeremy has more subscribers than Big Mike. Let's go. NDI says probably because he's a 12 driving a car. LBS Officer Bear for $1. Thank you. Pliskin McReady says, forget truckers. We need English speaking and reading requirement for Congress. 100%. Let's see. LBS Officer Bear says, this Shri dope is gonna get pummeled on social media and made into a cartoon on South Park. Eric K says, if Jeremy reads this, he agrees. Mod lives matter. Monica Sherman says, congrats on 100K. Thank you. We hit 100,000 followers on Twitter. Am I still there? Let me refresh. All right, I'm still there. 23 up. I'm not convinced I'll stay there. I've been losing. By the way, I don't know why I have 4 paid subscribers on Twitter, but I'm 100% gonna, I got to tweet some stuff from my 4 subscribers over there. I had no idea I had 4 subscribers. So I don't know why you're supporting me on Twitter, but I appreciate it. So I'll tweet some stuff out for the subscribers over there. La Era says, dude, what did it feel like rewatching Return of Revenge of the Sith? It's trending. I haven't. Well, I mean, I rewatched it at home, but I didn't go to the theaters. I haven't had time. But I love the movie, man. I personally would rather just stay home and watch it anyway. I'd rather watch it in my setup than go to the movies. And I don't know. I mean, it looks like a lot of the true fans are going there and enjoying it though, which I do appreciate. Philip Johnson says, this guy's re-election slogan, thank you, vote again. Can we take a look at the stats for his election? Was there a 3 a.m. dump? I bet there was. Proud American says, did you see the Midas latest attack on Trump for wearing a blue suit against Pope wishes at his funeral? Many leaders wore a blue suit, but the media edited the photo. Yep, I saw that. I did. And Fish Shooter, I appreciate the $100. I will look into this and get back to you, brother. I thank you so much. Malcolm Reynolds says he just unfollowed me already. Johnny Whiskett says there was a time where Tim Pool exploded on his show cussing out the DOJ and corrupt people in power, and it was cool. But then you went back to his past video to show him backpedaling. What was that about again? God, I have no idea. That was a long time ago. I'd have to look at and see the specifics of it. True Mr. Gentleman says Bret Hart versus Benoit on Nitro the night after Owen died to honor him. Unfortunate circumstances, but legit one of the greatest of all time. Bret versus Perfect and Bret versus Owen at WrestleMania are top notch too. Bret is the greatest worker in the wrestling history. He just is. Ziania says chat is ruthless. I'm howling like a seagull. 199. Rumball says freeze that video on Michelle Obama or Mohap's brother. Zoom in on crotch. What is happening? I am not going to do that, but you're welcome to if you want to. I am definitely not going to do that. I think let me see, there was one more thing we had to talk about, so we're not going anywhere yet. So don't think we're going anywhere yet, peeps. Okay, let's see if we can find out what's going on with this. Is Canada have we got any updates on Canada? By the way, I know it's kind of off topic here, but Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan announced they're back while teasing a third person in a cryptic video. I have no idea what this is going to be, but if Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar show up and they create a new wrestling organization, it'll be the greatest thing of all time. I have no idea if that's what they're going to do, but it was an old NWO style video that they uploaded and they teased a third man. I'm thinking a podcast too. But it would be crazy if Vince McMahon was the third man and they created a new wrestling organization. However, I don't anticipate that, but it is what it is. Let's see if I can find any of this. I'm looking for some Canada updates. Have we heard anything on Canada? Anybody? God, AI is out of control. See what Election Wizard has to say. Conservatives flip second seat in Newfoundland. Breaking polls. Polls close in most of Canada. Do-rag Jeremy. We'll see. Pierre is still in the fight. Really? All right. Let's see. Is this live?
Is a likely candidate to be a cabinet minister if Mark Carney's government is able to hold on to power. Wider look at Alberta. Conservatives are expected to dominate. This is typically a very conservative province, especially in the rural areas, but Liberals do have a chance, polls say, to win 5 to maybe 12 seats. Obviously, if it was closer to 12, that would be a huge victory for the Liberals and probably a sign of a big majority for them. We are seeing some early results as it relates to Amarjeet Sohi's race. One poll in extremely early. Sohi was down, losing to the Conservative candidate in this riding. But again, very early. This area, it was Edmonton Mill Woods. It's now Edmonton Southeast. It has been Liberal. It has been Conservative. So he has both lost that riding and won that riding before. So it's expected to be very close again tonight. Polls had Sohi up about 2% or so. We're at his watch party here. Polls have closed in Alberta, so just a few people have filtered in here to this party so far. But this will be a riding to watch, obviously. Alberta doesn't typically get a lot of Liberal seats. If it is a Liberal government, they will need some cabinet ministers, and Amarjeet Sohi is likely to be a very strong candidate should he be successful tonight.
Good point. All right. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll check in with you shortly. And we are going to head back to Windsor now, where we find our Melissa Nikovely. And Melissa, where you are has been a strong NDP riding with lots of issues on hand, especially the trade war with the U.S. And is this riding fighting to stay orange? Is there hope for this riding, or are the Liberals or Conservatives taking?
I see that down here on the bottom. It's got Pierre at 76. It's got Mark Carney at 101. So I don't understand how Canada's election system works at all. I have no idea. So I'm not going to pretend to know that, but I just wanted to check in and kind of see what was going on. I'm looking up some of the election places that I follow on Twitter and see what they're having to say. Let's see here. Exciting stuff. Yeah. Not really. Not really. Okay. In the end, Canada is severely Trump derangement syndrome. Infested nation and their prime minister will try to be a tough guy with Trump until it's no longer a pressing issue for them. I agree with that. I don't think it's going to end well for Canada, but I think that they're probably going to try to talk tough for a while and try to act like they have nothing. They have absolutely nothing. I think right now, the best thing that Canada's had recently is that Trump hasn't really focused on them. Once he focuses on them, it's over. So I guess we'll just have to see how that all plays out. So, let me go to my bookmarks really quick. Canada got Kamala. I don't know where this came from, but the White House says that even Supreme Court justices may be arrested if they harbor illegal aliens. I don't know where that comment came from, but I think that the irony of like putting Amy Coney Barrett in that picture is pretty on point. So I don't know where that comment came from, but I would like to know where the source of it is. But I will fully support that. No one is above the law. This is what the left told us for a long time. No one is above the law. I think we're finding, and listen, I know this Terrence Howard guy. Apparently he went on Joe Rogan and made a fool of himself. I don't know. But I think I figured out why Hollywood doesn't like him. So Terrence Howard is an actor. He actually was he was like a really rising star in Hollywood. But he said this, and this is why I don't think that they like him in Hollywood. Terrence Howard said he turned down the starring role in a Marvin Gaye biopic because he didn't want to kiss a man. That would fuck me. I would cut my lips off if I kissed some man. I would cut my lips off. Let's go. That's standing on business right there. Okay. What's up, Danky? So I guess the guy's kind of crazy. At least he's being perceived as crazy. That's what I know. And Hollywood does a good job of perceiving people that they don't like as crazy. They've done a very, very good job of that over the years. And I mean, I don't know if you remember, was it Dave Chappelle all those years ago? Talked about that on Inside the Actor Studio. It was right here, I think. Yeah, right here. It was Dave Chappelle said this, which is one of the most on point things Dave Chappelle has ever said.
When Martin Lawrence was in that chair, we talked about Blue Streak.
I love it.
He played a role in your life, I believe. How do you feel about him as a person, as an artist?
Martin Lawrence is the guy that showed everybody you can make it from D.C. to Hollywood. And I had a personal stake in his success. Every time he did something, it made me feel inspired and really good. And he was always real nice to me. He'd sit me down, "What's going on with you, baby boy? What? We'd talk about comedy, whatever." And, you know, when we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, "Oh, my God, Martin, are you okay?" And he said, "I got the best sleep I ever got in my life." That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, "They are trying to kill me"?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows. The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick.
That's why they hate Dave Chappelle right there for calling it out. For calling it out. I love that clip from Chappelle. I love that clip. So again, I don't know. Maybe this guy, what the fuck, Terrence Howard, maybe this guy's crazy. Maybe he is. I don't know. Somebody asked the question, does he think that it's gay because Marvin's last name is gay? It's pretty funny. He just heard the name Marvin Gaye. He like, keep me away from that gay shit. Honestly, I would respect it if that was his stance. I would be like, hey, I respect it. Fantastic, Mr. Knox says that's where Apu went to after going from The Simpsons. Sophie says someone told me you're butchering a Malay's name in the Spanish language. Jeremy, say afuewa. Afuewa. There. That good? Yeah. Look, man, I'm from America, okay? We speak American words here, okay? The President of the United States just signed an executive order, okay? Darth Gavel says 51st state. Neil Knight says Terrence Howard's father stabbed and murdered a guy on a line. They were on to see Santa Claus in a line. They were supposed to see Santa Claus in a store when he was 5 years old. Screwed him up. Really? Holy crap. That's crazy. Yeah, I'd heard his Joe Rogan appearance was wild. And he said some wild stuff and it went viral. I never really watched it. I don't really like, I'll watch Joe Rogan when there's certain things. You know, like if there's a certain guest on there, but not really. Look at this. Hang on. Yeah. So this was tweeted just a few minutes ago. This is, again, these are just the odds. 90% of odds being elected as Canadian Prime Minister from Mark Carney. So it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good. Let's see. Oh no. Oh no. Terrence Williams. Terrence Williams.
My decision to skip the inauguration, you know, what people don't realize, or my decision to make choices at the beginning of this year that suited me were met with such ridicule and criticism. Like people couldn't believe that I was saying no for any other reason, that they had to assume that my marriage was falling apart.
Right.
You know, it's like, while I'm here really trying to own my life and intentionally practice making the choice that was right for me. And it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right, or that was perceived as right, but do the thing that was right for me. That was a hard thing for me to do. I had to basically trick myself out of it. And it started with not having anything to wear. I mean, I had affirmatively, because I'm always prepared for any funeral, anything. I walk around with the right dress. I travel with clothes just in case something pops off. So I was like, if I'm not going to do this thing, I got to tell my team.
Woo! Scary stuff right there. Indeed. Rumball says, YouTube send bots, Hobie, Washington. Send Bobs. I'm sorry. Bobs and Vagana. Clovis says, you keeping up with what's going on in China? From what I've seen from journalists covering the middle class in China, their economy, housing market, and even currency is crashing and crashing fast. Yes, they can't survive. They can't survive what's going on. They can talk a big game, but they can't survive. So Cole Hauser says election is over. Liberals win. There you go. There you go. The Pierre guy screwed it up, man. Whenever he went after Trump, it was over. So whenever he went, it was over. So sad day for Canada, but pretty expected for the most part. Pretty expected. All right. So now that that's over, that's crazy, man. he had like it. Was it as close as like, wasn't it like a few months ago where he actually had a legitimate shot and then he started taking shots at Trump and he just got worse and worse about it? I'm not saying that that's the only reason that he lost, but you know, that didn't help for sure at all. Let me see here. Hey, there's a new version. Do you guys remember the game Guess Who? You guys remember that game? That board game back in the day? I grew up playing that game. I used to love playing that game, Guess Who? But I don't know if you guys remember. Guess Who? You remember that one? Great game. Well, we've got a MAGA edition coming out very soon. Boom. The MAGA edition of Guess Who. Were they arrested for selling fentanyl and are, let's see, a healthy weight? No. There you go. So let's go. Have a MAGA edition. You know that would sell like crazy too, by the way. Put them in the stores. It would sell out immediately. Everybody would jump on that. All right. Yeah, there's Election Wizard said it. Breaking number one, Canada CTV projects Mark Carney. Liberals have held on to power. Will form a new government. So there you go. There you go. It is what it is, man. Not sure. Here we go. There it is. So Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's Liberal Party wins election. So there it is. It's over. We'll see how this plays out. We'll see how this plays out. But we're going to end it there. I think they're still live on Locals. So if they are, I will jump over there. Let me see if they're still live on Locals. Yes, they are still live over there on Locals. So let's see who all's there. I got to pause the content, though, because it is a members only. So let's see who's over there. Why can't I? There we go. I got to pause it. So Krista, Tommy, Beardo, and Philip, Project Egg Roll. So I'm going to go over there and hang out with them. So if you guys want to come join us over there, you can. I appreciate it. It feels good to be back. And I'm going to see what I can do about tomorrow with covering the Trump rally tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And thank you guys for following me on Twitter. 100,000 followers. That's absolutely insane. I can't believe that. So that means the world to me. And thank you guys for all the super chats, donation, the love, and the memes and all that other stuff. So if you guys want to come hang out with us over on Locals, I would appreciate seeing you lovely people over there. And we got a lot of content coming up on the Geeks and Gamers channels. So make sure you check all of that out. So for everybody in the chat, thank you. Mod Lives Matter in the chat. MLM in the chat. You guys have a good evening, and we'll talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone.